What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports to help give you the edge for this MMA 12-fight slate. Cannot wait to break it down. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future MMA content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.patreon.com/DGFantasy for more information. On Patreon, we give advanced cheat sheets for all DFS sports on DraftKings. These cheat sheets include updated projections, ownership, and our overall favorite plays from slate to slate. We take it a step further by teaching you how to play fantasy sports like a shark, by showing you where the best leverage spots are to put you in the best spots to take down tourneys. Also included is our private Discord chat where you get to talk over the slate with everyone, including our coaches, to help build your lineups. And now let's dive right into this MMA 13-fight slate with Kevin as always. Kevin, how did we do last weekend?
So last weekend, Matt, pretty average night, I think, on this one for the most part. Whitaker versus Gaslam. We'll recap that real quick. Some calls were hot, some calls were cold. Just another day in the office. Going through the fights, I liked Gravely to win, and he did. I liked him to win by finish. He did. What I was scared of is his price point, though, and I'm curious to see, did he make the optimal? What's the verdict there?
I'm sorry, who?
Gravely. Tony Gravely.
Gravely, that's what I thought you said. Gravely, he definitely did make the optimal 138. At least, hold on, let me crunch it up.
138. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, 138 was the highest. Yes. Yep. Gravely made it.
Yep. Okay. I kind of had a feeling he did. I didn't know he scored that high, but that's it's what do we mark him as?
Yellow. We marked him as yellow. He
okay.
very well. Here's the reason why too, is because his ownership was so darn high.
Yep. And we did like him to finish too, but it was just 9,400, right? 9,400.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a little scary, but I mean, he did clear it. So,
I would say so. Yes.
Yeah. Hubbard and Bush, I saw as an average target and had an average result. Mearshart was a level lister for me and was the first one to really clear his price point. I wrote that because I didn't think Gravely did, but second, I guess. Mearshart was the second to clear his price point. What did Mearshart score?
101.58.
Yeah, perfect. So he was optimal.
Yes, he was. Yep. So this is one of those cards where there were so many upsets that you just had to have the highest scoring guys, period, in your optimal lineup, and you would have taken it down.
Gotcha. Okay, makes sense. So yeah, that was good. Mearshart was good. I didn't love Panay, but I will pat myself on the back for fading. Lupita
yes,
at
you definitely did fade them. Yep.
Yeah. So did Panay make the optimal?
He definitely did not. Oh wait. No, he didn't. Or she did not. Sorry, I do apologize. These days, you never know.
Valid point.
Oh wait, so actually, what? Okay, she did with 68.9 points.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering.
So
she was a huge punch. She was 7K, I think.
Yeah, so. Just because of her price point. But like I said, did anybody score over 68? Hold on. I gotta fact check this real quick. Yeah, 60. Okay. So Arvlosky scored 73.97, but I think because of the price tag there, didn't make it quite make it.
I didn't have Panay, but I faded Lupita.
But Panay barely made it. The second highest would be Romanov at 67, right behind her. Cortez outscored. Yeah, okay. Like barely scraping out a couple other fighters, but yeah, 68.9. That's actually crazy. Okay, that might be one of the craziest things I've seen in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just that's what happens when a punt wins, and there's not a lot of people clearing price points, So, Romanov and Espino was one of my favorite fights. I talked about a possibility of it being low scoring, though, with they're both being such a grapplers and style matchup, and sadly, that's what happened. Killed a lot of my lines. It was also a very weird third round decision that ended within the distance. I know that kind of sounds like like a paradox, Matt, a third round decision that ended in the distance, but it was. I think there was an illegal blow. And because it was in the third round, they score it right there. And it was one round to one round, and then it was like whoever's winning that round. It was weird, something like that. But I'm guessing that didn't count as a finish on DK, right?
No, did not.
Okay. So yeah, that was tough. I said Munoz and Pena were both live, and to be honest, I thought Munoz won that with similar striking and 4 takedown to Pena's 0. But Is what it is. I said to avoid Cortez and Kish, and I'm glad I did. Did not have enough of Jacob Malkoun, straight up. Did mark him live for sure, but who the hell thought he was going to, Jacob Malkoun attempted 24 takedowns, Matt. Got 8 of them, which is a ton. What did he score?
114.63.
Yeah. So who saw that coming? He was probably best bang for your buck guy on the slate. I said Arlovsky was live, and he looked okay. He cleared 106 strikes. Did he make the optimal, Arlovsky?
Did not. He was, like I said, he was 1 point off of it.
Okay, cool. So yeah, he was close, but he did pretty well. I said I had a feeling Whitaker was going to smoke Gastelum, and he did just that. He just looks like he's lights out right now. But we got another sick card ahead of us, Matt. 3 title fights, and I love this card. Tons of cool undercard fights as well. So yeah, let's look at this first fight on the card. First fight on the card is, I'll tell you, Matt, my jaw isn't on the floor for this one. It's beneath it, maybe on the foundation of the house. I'm bewildered. I've never seen a women's fight with over probably a -170 finish chance. That's probably like the most.
Doesn't even seem high.
Yeah, that's crazy. This one sits at -260 to start the card.
Wow.
Off. Yeah,
are you sure these are girls?
Yes, I did. I had to look like 6 times.
Okay.
I was like, wait, hold up. Is this right? But great pricing too. I mean, what a way to get this rolling. They're going to make my love list.
Nice.
Yeah, great fight off the rip. I think Liang has mostly only fought in China and really hasn't fought a ton of big names. She's a really good finisher with all her wins coming by that way, except for 2 DQs. She also has been finished in 3 of her 4 losses, so it's starting to kind of make sense here, paint a picture. Carnelossi has a similar career trajectory, but has had a UFC fight where she lost to Angela Hill. Her 2 losses are by way of finish as well. So again, we're starting to get a picture here of why this is -260. Right. This fight will make my love list, as I said, and I think people are going to sleep on this one as ladies that will start off the card. And, I think we could get some leverage here. I also want to add that Ariane is a knockout artist and Liang is a grappler, just to add to the narrative that this makes a great target.
All right, Carnelossi at 26% ownership and Liang at 9.3. And just to put this in perspective, as you guys know, I always give a benchmark percentage of what the cash ownership is looking like. Anything above 28.3% is considered cash viable. There's a lot of inflated ownership here with a couple of specific fighters that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But anything above 28.3, guys, pen as a cash play. That being said, Kevin, a lot of leverage potential, like you said, here in the very first fight.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I think this is going to be one. It could be a make or break. I mean, you could be dead in the water off the rip, but.
And I think Liang's the 3rd lowest on the card for what it's worth. So if there's an upset off the rip here, boom, slate breaker.
Love it. Yeah, I'm going to target that one to hell. Next fight we're looking at is Ori versus Molina. Ori adds to the list of, I think there's like 4 or 5 Chinese fighters on this card.
I can see that by the last names here.
Yeah, I think it's Wiley Zhang, brought kind of her entourage, some of her countrymen and countrywomen. But I'm going to mark Aori yellow. He has a lot of professional experience, but most of those fights are in the same organization. It's all from, I believe it's the WLF, which is all where all these Chinese fighters are coming from, which is, there's some good European competition over there, and there's some tough people, but in the same aspect, it's not like, what I would consider like Bellator, PFL, even World Series of Fighting. Like, I don't know. There's a couple better organizations, so it's tough to see. But
you're allowed to say it's trash. So
it's yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how trash it is. It's fine. I think it's just middle of the road. Okay. I don't think it's trash. I think it's middle of the road. But yeah, he has a lot of experience, and that's great. But anyway. Aori is not a great finisher, and I think yellow is an appropriate spot for him. Molina, on the other hand, I have seen fight more and have a better idea of what he is capable of. Good fighter, solid submission artist, which bodes well against Aori, who has been submitted 3 of his 6 losses. He's also the cheaper fighter with an even line, which means he'll probably carry a little more ownership, though. I like him green for this fight. I would say Molina's green. Aori's yellow.
Okay, so you hit the nail on the head there. Just because he's cheaper, the line is literally 50-50. Vegas is giving this a 50. This is the first time I've ever seen this, by the way. 50% chance on the dot for both these fighters to win this. So a literal toss-up, carrying slightly higher ownership. But that being said, people are afraid to pick this fight just because it is a toss-up. They are both very low owned. 20.3% ownership for Molina and Aori, 16.6%, Kevin. So leverage potential just because it's a toss-up.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like the leverage potential. And yeah, both are live for sure. Molina makes a little more sense to me.
Right.
Just
in terms of the price tag.
Yeah, price tag and MMA perspective,
Sure.
but leverage big. Moving on, Rodrigo Vargas versus Zhu Rong. This is interesting. Rong is, he's interesting. He makes another Chinese fighter, number 3 in a row, and he's a beast. Also coming from the WLF organization. I can't talk today.
You're good.
Like the other 2 previously mentioned Chinese fighters. He comes in with a little bit more impressive resume, though. Rong punishes people, Matt. He has 15 finishes of 17 wins. A lot of knockouts in there. He hits real hard. I think he is a strong pay-up option here. Vargas looked better than he did in his first UFC fight when he took on Brock Weaver in February, but got DQ'd with an illegal knee. So it's kind of still hard to see like what his level is at. He's a good finisher as well, though, and is welcoming a UFC newcomer. So I think he is green, but won't quite make the punt list like Rong will my love list. So I think Rong will be a good pay-up option. Vargas is green.
Okay, so Rong is technically yellow, or
no, he's green.
Green.
You're both green. He's a love lister. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So yeah, so the tier is red, yellow, green, love list.
Okay, got it. Okay, Rong. So Rong is 27% owned. Again, still GPP vibe. We haven't seen any cash guys yet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
At $9,100, and then Vargas at 7%, which is the second lowest on the card. So it sounds like you like both sides here in terms of leverage as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I think there's big power from both guys. Good finishability. I mean, we're sitting at a -200 for a reason. I say, yeah, green light for sure.
There's not to jump too far ahead, Kevin, but the next 2 fights are also GPP ownership. We finally get a cash ownership here in the 8th fight. So the first 5 fights throughout the night, all GPP and all leverage potential. So if you guys want to play the earlier part of the card and just fade the rest of them, go for it. There's all your leverage you'll need.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm sure having 3 title fights helps too.
That does help, yes.
But yeah, moving on, we got Dana Batgarel versus Kevin Natividad. So those fights, it doesn't pop off the page for me. I keep it simple. Could be a sneaky optimal for sure. Could happen. But it's not gonna, it's not blowing me out of the water. I don't really love this fight. Natividad did like nothing in his UFC debut. He landed 38 total strikes in 12 minutes before getting KO'd. So I was like, I don't really know. Dana had a better last fight with first round KO. He's 1-1 in the UFC. So I think this is as yellow gets for fights. But I'm looking a little more at the favorite in Dana. I guess maybe recency bias. What's the ownership here?
Dana is 24.4% ownership, again, GPP, and Natividad is the lowest on the card at 6.5% ownership. So does that help his case at all, Kevin, in terms of leverage, or no? You think there's no potential here?
No, I don't think there's no potential.
Okay.
I just think there's it's not my favorite. It doesn't pop off the page for me.
Right. Doesn't excite you.
Yeah, it doesn't excite me, which there's a lot of fights on this card that does excite me.
I can see why, yes. I see a lot of them coming up.
Yeah.
When I start recognizing names, guys, that's how you know it's going to be exciting.
Then you're in trouble.
Yeah, then you're in trouble. Yep.
So yeah, leave that one as you will, maybe yellow. But moving on, we have Pat Sabatini versus Tristan Connolly. I'm just going to read this like a stat sheet, Matt, and I'm going to let people kind of like bring the horse to water on this one.
Okay.
Just because, there's a couple factors here, and it's interesting. So Sabatini makes his long-awaited UFC debut. Sabatini's 8,800 as a guy who has never fought in what would be considered a top-tier organization.
Mm-hmm.
So it's expensive. He also has not really fought any top-tier guys in any organization, so hasn't really fought anybody. He is a -230 at 8,800, which in terms of Vegas odds to DraftKings, like relativity, that pricing is pretty good, bang for your buck. He has an 85% finish rate. He was a D1 wrestler. This fight has a +150 finish chance. But so there's a lot of variables to mull around there with just Pat Sabatini. Good bang for your buck. Really good bang for your buck if you're looking at it, like I said, Vegas odds to DK kind of relativity there.
Right.
That being said, hasn't really fought anybody. Hasn't fought in really.
Sounds like a lot of question marks.
A lot of question marks, which can be good. +150 finish chance, which I'm going to also, which is weird with how, 85% finish rate. But then his opponent, Tristan Connolly, has a 93% finish rate.
Interesting.
So
okay.
+150 finish chance really isn't sitting well with me.
All right.
This is just going to make things even harder. Connolly's 1-0 in the UFC as the underdog. He's on a 5-fight winning streak as a whole. And yeah, I don't know. I'll let you guys decide this for yourself. But
to me, it just sounds like a perfect chance to take advantage of the ownership, because ownership is also going to be very low. You think it's double green? Okay.
Yeah, I think it's double green. I just don't know. Maybe I'm a little more bullish on this one, but
Yeah.
I just think, it just makes sense to me.
And like you said, for all the question marks, it's keeping the ownership low, and I'm a huge ownership guy. So that adding that factor in there, yeah, I would be bullish on this as well. Might as well, since the public is not, be contrarian. And you're thinking 16. Oh, hold on, I read the wrong one. 25% on Sabatini, and on Conley 16.9. So both very low.
Ownership, man.
Both very low. Yep.
That's and it's funny because I know we're leading into the next one, which is you said has a ton of ownership, and I guess it
more
makes
ownership,
sense.
not a ton.
Okay, more ownership.
Yeah.
This this is definitely the next one's a love lister.
Okay.
So let's get right to it. But yeah, that Sabatini and Connolly one's interesting. I feel like Connolly is going to get really slept on. What'd you say his ownership is?
16.5.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Slate breaker.
There's a chance there. He could get taken down all day long. Sabatini, I like, me, I like my wrestlers, but that fight has potential.
Oh, that's why you like him. Okay, now I'm connecting the dots here.
Starting to make sense. D1 wrestler. Carl Roberson versus Brendan Allen is the next one though, and this is a love lister. What's the ownership? I'm curious off the rip.
So Allen's 28.3. He is the benchmark. So six owned, which still isn't even that high, and then 13% on Roberson.
That's pretty low, and I'll tell you this. So Roberson, this is another day in the office for us, Matt, but in a good way. I think this one's pretty clear cut, not too much to talk about, and I think it's pretty, cut and dry. Roberson's a good fighter, solid wins and some tough losses, but mostly tough guys. He's a good finisher with a clear hole in his grappling. I think he's pretty cut and dry, but put the lights out. I like Roberson, 7,800. Definitely put the lights out. It's minus 215 here, by the way. So both guys, and it's good for a good reason. Both guys are really good finishers here. I like Allen. I think he's a good fighter. I was a little underwhelmed in his last performance. I don't know if you recall, Matt. He fought Sean Strickland, and I know Strickland's good. Strickland's very good. I just was kind of surprised at how crappy Allen looked. But I think Strickland also looked phenomenal that night. So I don't know. Just looked a little slow at the gate from Allen, but I do like this fight. Both sides are live for sure. I think it is pretty 50-50 as to a winner. I do think Allen's style matches up well with Roberson, but both solid love listers here.
All right. Like you said, that's pretty straightforward. I have no questions. So
yeah, cool. So yeah, that's definitely a big live fight.
All right, moving
Next
on.
we have Dwight Grant versus Stefan Sekulik. Grant is a tough one here. He's an okay fighter, but not the type of dude I like to spend 9,200. I'll tell you that. He has hands for sure, but I don't think he's a future champion by any means. And at that price, you better at least be showing signs of it. I think Stefan is a tough matchup with his grappling as well. This is tough, Matt. Grant hasn't showed too many grappling woes though, so it's like, I don't know, solid finish chance here. We're looking at a minus 170.
Okay.
So a fade might kill you, but I am a little split.
Okay.
I think Grant deserves a green. I think Stefan is pretty tough, and in his debut he lost to Ramazan, but that doesn't mean too much to me because he's very good, but he also got the crap kicked out of him. Wasn't ever really close. So it's like, how's the ownership here?
So the ownership is actually concerningly, I don't know if that's a word, low. 16.6% ownership on Grant and Sekulik at 8.1, Kevin. That is, combined ownership-wise, it might be the lowest that we've seen so far.
What was Grant again?
16.8. 16.6, sorry.
Oh, I hate it. Yeah, you got to take some. That's just it's such a good finish chance.
You got to go overweight on this one.
Yeah. What'd you say?
You got to go overweight on this one. You
almost have to. And it's like one of those ones I hate. Like I mentioned, I hate paying up 9,200 for someone like Grant.
Yeah.
But
those 9K plus guys make you cringe no matter who it is.
It's so true. I hate them. Yeah. And then it's this situation makes me cringe. And because then you got friggin' Sekulik who could come out and just put him to sleep too at 7K. Right. And then it's like, well, here's your free ticket to the optimal.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. I don't know.
Apparently, if you score 68 points, it's a free ticket to the optimal, from what we've learned.
Yeah, that's apparently you just have to step out on the.
You just have to step out there and win. Yeah,
it's crazy. But yeah, leave that one as it may. Take it. I say take it. I say take decent exposure. Maybe 50% of your lines have this fight. Which side you pick, up to you. But fit it in there. You never know.
That's what she said.
Next is that's definitely what she said. Next is Alex Oliveira versus Randy Brown. Fight is green, not a love lister, and it might surprise some people why. It's minus 120 finish chance, two good finishers. These guys are vets, but like true vets, these are true vets, Matt. They have 29 UFC fights between them.
Okay.
29. That's friggin' insane. Of those fights, they have 11 finishes. Or sorry, I should say, this is 29 total fights, not just wins. And they have 11 wins by finish, 8 losses by finish. So the odds sense in a finish is obviously more so than not. You know what I mean? That's why it's minus 120. Most of their fights end in finish, the majority, win or lose. That being said, I think you need a finish. If it doesn't, I think you might be in trouble. I know they have a ton of finishes, so a lot of their fights haven't gone the distance. But out of their 29 combined UFC fights, Matt, not once has either of these guys cleared 100 significant strikes in a fight.
Interesting.
Which is kind of wild to me. That's mind-blowing. So target this. It's fine, but do proceed with a little caution. I mean, you need a finish. You need one.
Yeah.
That's what that tells me.
Rant continues for me. Apparently nobody cares about the first 8 fights. Nobody cares. Ownership, crazy low. Again, 17.2% on Oliveira, and then on Brown, 14.1. Like, I sound like a broken record at this point. It just looks like all the ownership here is in the first 5 fights, or last 5 fights rather.
It's stupid because I mean they're good fights,
right.
Really good fights. But
again,
I would say
casual perspective.
Just from looking at the top 5 fights, I mean, I got so many. I love all of them. They're awesome fights. I can't say like, oh, one of those, but just statistically speaking,
exactly. We had the last time we had 3 main. What are they called? The main, not main events.
Title fights.
Title fights. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Last time we had 3. One of them did not make the optimal, I believe. And I think the one with the lowest ownership was the Slate Breaker, which was the very last one. I believe.
Yeah, maybe 2 didn't. I can't remember.
It was weird.
Aljamain and Jan because of that DQ.
Oh,
I remember one was on pace for the dumbest. Like I think
that was the one where Jan still outscored him. and then he ended up with only 50 points or something stupid like that.
I think it was still higher than that. I think. I don't know. I can't remember.
I remember that one of those 3 fights was definitely not in the optimal, and it just crushed like half the field because of it. So,
what were the other fights? Nunes.
You're asking
Nunes
me.
Was definitely one.
Yes, yep, and she definitely was in it. And then the last one, I think it was it Usman? Was Usman in that same one or no?
I don't think so. Was
it Adesanya?
Was that Stipe and Ngannou? Was that 260? No.
I don't know. I feel like we're taking way too much time here. If you guys know, enter in the comment section below. Call us stupid.
It was Jan and Izzy.
Yeah, see, I know something. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. So yeah, that was that one made it. But anyway. When everyone slept on Jan, I said take him. Yeah, no big deal. Yeah. Anyway, so moving on, we have Jimmy Crute moving to this top 5. Jimmy Crute versus Anthony Smith. 2 words to describe this fight, Matt. Absolute banger. I'm kind of on the Crute train, to be honest. He is so well rounded. He smashed this dude aside from getting caught in that Peruvian necktie from Surkonov. But that being said, I'm still an Anthony Smith apologist. I love him. I know he sucks sometimes. He sucked against Rakic, but I also got people back on the train and won people some money when I said take him against Devin Clark, and he showed out. He's a stud finisher, and I think he's an awesome punt in this fight. I think this fight is going to be lights out, and I can't wait. What's the ownership here, Matt?
Crute is 31.4%, so that would be the fifth highest. Yep. So definitely cash viable.
I'll still take that though.
And again, it makes sense. It's 8.9K. Definitely obtainable price tag for everything you just said. And then Anthony Smith at 15.3. So a lot of leverage potential there.
Yeah, I'm probably going Hundo P on this one.
Okay.
That's just how I feel. 89.73. I'm probably loading up this fight.
Yeah, the pricing makes sense, and the ownership agrees with you for at least being cash viable there for Crute.
Yeah, just stylistically too. I think this ends in a finish.
Yeah, very straightforward for me. Yeah, it's a very obvious fight.
Moving on, we have Uriah Hall versus Chris Weidman. First thing that most people will probably notice here is that Chris Weidman is a favorite. What's the odds right now?
Well, hold on. Yeah, for me, it's reading opposite. Let me go back here. Weidman's minus 125. So I guess that's been recent because, again, Fantasy Crunch has the opening lines, and Weidman was actually not the favorite when it opened up.
Okay. Yeah. So So this is what I had last. So 125 and Hall's plus 105.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So yeah. So he's the favorite at $400 cheaper.
Surprised he's not higher owned, to be honest. Then
I'm still gonna put him in cash.
Okay.
Just because.
No, I agree with you. Yeah.
Just because you have to. It's and I think closer to lock, he should carry a ton of ownership.
I agree with you. Again,
when people start figuring that out, what is the ownership?
Ownership is 25% on Weidman, which is higher than Hall, but Hall's only 14.
Hall's 14?
Yeah, 14. Yep. We knew it would be leverage potential, so.
Smoke this fight.
Yeah.
Smoke it. Smoke it.
Mhm.
This is like...
People are scared of the toss-up fights, and that's what this is.
I need to recalculate real quick. I just need to decompress rather, and just let that sink in that this fight has a total of, what was it, 40% ownership or something?
If that. Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely insane.
39.
Yeah, that's bananas. I don't understand it. This is such a awesome stylistic fight for both of these guys to make the optimal. One of two things is going to happen, Matt. I really do believe this. Weidman is going to take him down, gas him out, and put a clinic on him with takedowns and ground and pound. And he's one of the best. He brings the ground and pound style backward. A lot of people don't do it anymore. You know what I mean? They'll take down for submissions or take down, ride him. There's not a lot of people like there was back in early mid 2000s that really ground and pound. Probably because fighters are getting better. But Weidman still does it. Sans every Russian fighter in the UFC right now who does it. But Weidman, still does it. Has good power from ground and pound. Good takedowns. 7,900. He can clear that so easily. Make the optimal. Option two, or situation number two that could happen. Uriah sends his glass jaw into a different universe, and that's it. And I have legit no idea what is going to happen first. Weidman gets knocked out all the time now. Uriah Hall hits like a friggin' Mack truck. I'm pretty confident, Matt, it's going to be one of the two. I think Weidman's going to clear his price point in a decision, or Uriah Hall is going to put him in the dirt. And I think, both of those, obviously with the ownership especially, and their pricing is going to be just fine. So I love this fight. This is a love lister and might just bumped up to the top of the list because the ownership. I thought Uriah Hall, Matt, with Weidman. I mean, Uriah Hall is a well-known knockout artist. I know.
Again, recognize the name for me, and that's scary.
Yeah. So, and Chris Weidman, I believe, has been knocked out in 5 of his last 6 fights. Let's see.
I can actually look that up too.
5 of his last 7. 5 of his last 7 has been knocked out. So,
and in the fights that he didn't get knocked out, he scored very well.
Yeah, and the Gastelum and Akhmedov.
Yep.
I like him. I like Weidman.
Wow, he's in toss-ups every single time. All the odds are like minus 140, plus 140, minus 160.
Especially as a late, and if he gets to his wrestling, he'll be fine. But if not, Uriah Hall smokes him and clears that price point. So yeah, this might jump to the top of my list even more so than Jimmy.
I don't disagree with you. So before we break down the last 3 title fights, Kevin, I want to start out by asking this and not jumping too far ahead. Is there any one of these 3, or possibly 2 or 3 of them, that could potentially not make the optimal? Like, do they have a real shot at not making the optimal, or do you think they all have a pretty good chance here? Because that's gonna sway the opinion of like the breakdown for us.
I got one.
Okay.
I got one.
All right. Good. Okay. Then yeah. So based on that sole fact, a lot of these other fights should be higher owned than what they are right now.
Yeah. And again, I'm saying what I think. Rose could come out, or Zhang, or someone like that. Wiley Zhang could come out, start slow, and she has the power, knocks Rose out in the second. She's not making optimal. You know what I mean? So if she starts slow and comes out and gets a late knockout in the second,
so you think it's that Zhang fight? Okay.
Yeah. No, that's not it. I'm just giving another scenario. Okay, I think is going to make the optimal, but it couldn't. It could not happen. You know what I'm saying? There's no guarantees. It's a fight game, so I don't know. It's interesting, but I'll tell you about the one I don't think is going to make the optimal, or I think there's a good chance it doesn't. Is the next one with Valentina Shevchenko?
Good transition.
Versus Jessica Andrade. This is interesting because Shevchenko is amazing. And I know Tony Gravely made it last time at 9,400, all that stuff, but there's 2 other title fights to compete with right now. 9,500 is still a little steep. This is a big card, 13 fights, a lot of finish chances, a lot of bangers on here. You know what I might do, Matt? I said I was going to do this last time. I forgot. I'm going to make some lines. Maybe I'll do it like cheap lines. I don't know, dollar lines or something. And I'm going to put all 3 title fights in a double up. And I just want to see what happens.
Oh, you mean, okay. Just straight up take 3 winners. Is that what you're saying? Because of the potential.
Yep.
Love
And I'm
it.
just going to see what
Love
happens. I want to
it.
see what happens. I've never done it. I want to see what happens.
Love it.
So yeah, so remind me if I forget, because I want to do that. And I'm almost tempted to just be like, you know what, send the house at it, because this is an amazing
I need to do
opportunity.
some. Do you know what? Before you do that, let me run some math behind that, because I think it's very viable. But I don't want you to throw the house at it if it's not viable.
Yeah,
so
no,
I want to make sure
I like
that
I
is.
appreciate that. Yeah, give me the your
because again, Kevin, we're reading the GPP ownership in cash. All these guys are going to be so much more inflated. Like we're talking about Usman ownership here at 60%. Oh, I just jumped way ahead. Sorry, I just
that's going
to look like 90% in a double up, 1000%.
No, seriously. So no, 100%.
If there's any upsets here, you're going to easily cash. Yeah, I love that. But yeah, let's jump back on board here.
Okay. So yeah, no, I agree, and I'm curious for your expertise, insight. But maybe this is interesting. This is one of the tougher title fights to get behind for me. Valentina has some, she looked human last fight, a little bit, and then she came back and didn't look human and just started smoking. But she had moments of looking human. She's had moments of looking human in her whole career. She's had some close fights, but she is still probably the second best women's MMA fighter of all time, in my opinion. So I think she's at 9,500. She's still fine, especially in cash. I think Andrade can be yellow. She's had some good wins, beat some really good competition like Doug Rose, Carolina, Claudia, Raquel Pennington. Yeah, it's tough. This is very tough. Valentina is going to have to put on a 5-round clinic with her wrestling. She has good wrestling. She has good ground and pound. She's going to have to put on a clinic to clear 9,500. I'll tell you that. She'll be green. She is green. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't expect her to make the optimal. If she does, I promise I will not be like, whoa, what? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, Shevchenko made the optimal. Sounds very possible. But like last fight, she had a comical 250 strikes and 5 takedowns.
Yeah.
If that happens again, she's gonna be in the optimal.
You think?
Yeah. But I wouldn't bank on it, and I wouldn't overexpose here. Andrade is tough. She has some big wins, but even like the Thug Rose one was kind of a fluke. She's hits really hard. She does hit really hard. I don't know how I feel about Andrade. Like, do I actually give her a puncher's chance in this one? She's definitely not gonna be on my love list. I'll keep her yellow. I think she's a very good fighter. She is a good enough fighter to knock anyone out. But and then Shevchenko at 9,500. We'll keep her green. But
going back to your point, when you play all these people in double ups, does Andrade have the potential to take it the distance, and does that pay off that price? Like, even if she loses of $6,700, your answer is yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So 52.5% on Valentina. That is the second highest on the card, Kevin. So I'm sure you love that. Jessica at 27.4, so still very high. Again, just because it's one of the title fights. Yeah.
I mean, you almost want like something like, if you're going to fade Valentina again, you want like a second, third round KO or something with, kind of low volume, and be like, get her out of there. She scores 90 points, and you're like, that's a good day in the office. That's not clearing 9,500 though. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So it's like, yep. Completely agree with. Now, is this red, yellow, or green in your books for a GPP play?
Valentina is still green. Just because she can. Like I said, last fight, man, 250 strikes and 5 takedowns.
Well, then I feel like you also have to make Jessica green just because of her price tag. I mean,
but does she have a chance? That's why I think yellow's pretty fair.
Okay.
Because as you see by the ownership of, what's Valentina's ownership?
Valentina is 52%.
52. That shows how much the public doesn't think Andrade has a chance. So me marking her yellow, I think I'm actually being a little contrarian.
Okay.
Just because I have a high opinion of Andrade. She hits hard. Good fighter. So
if you had to give us your actual percentage chance on Jessica winning, what would you give it? Just curious.
10.
10. Okay, because Vegas giving her 20. So yeah, so you're more bullish on Valentina than Vegas is.
100%.
Yep. Okay. I was just curious.
She's a freaking killer, man. She's probably the second best women's fighter ever.
Oh really? Okay.
Nunes, in my opinion. She's consistent. But yeah, moving on, we got Wiley Zhang versus Thug Rose. This is interesting, Matt. If you were going to stack one single fight on this card, I think this is the one you do. We saw Zhang coming off that absolute war with Joanna, which, to be honest, Matt, that fight with her and Joanna may have been the best fight I've ever seen in my life. Not male or not best female fight, rather, or male, like best just fight ever in my life. A lot of fun. I think that was before the new scoring too, where what is it, non-sig strikes, like have value now and just all strikes count. So I think this fight has super high scoring potential for both sides all over it. The winner will score super high, I think, or has a lot of potential to, and the loser also has a lot of potential to score super high. So this is going to be interesting. And I wonder, Matt, like have we seen, and how far can you go back?
Like in terms of weeks?
History, yeah.
Okay, for who?
Like a UFC event. Can you look at back?
It depends on the fighter, honestly.
I'm saying, but like, can you look up an event?
Oh,
like
no,
UFC
no, not without going to the internet. Yeah.
Okay. I just was curious. I wanted to know if Zhang and Joanna made optimal that time.
Oh.
Like a loser made the optimal. Because I think she got like 90 points as a loser.
I don't see it, so
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Because it only goes back as far as DraftKings goes back. Was that more?
DraftKings went back. This is a fight we covered.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Hold on. Hold up.
Joanna versus Zhang. It was on 248 was the event.
248. Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So she's.
I'm like sitting here. I'm like, what is he not?
117.5, and I can't tell what she scored. So that's the only hitch.
Okay. Who? Joanna?
Joanna. Yeah, right.
Well, yeah. I'll tell you this: she had more strikes and sig strikes.
Okay, so then they definitely both made the. Yeah, they would have had to make the up. That's probably the first time ever.
So yeah, losers can make, and that's why I'm like, this has that potential. I don't think it's going to be like that. I don't expect any fight ever in history to be like that. But Rose is a good dance partner,
right?
And I think this could be a banger of a fight like that. Both are going to be like way up there. I'm going to put Zhang and GPP or cash, depending on what you tell me for ownership, but I love her. Thug Rose, absolute punt column. She can absolutely win this fight.
Yeah.
She has the skill. Zhang is slowly approaching that godlike status where she's like getting near like a Shevchenko, or not a Nunes yet, but like near there. And but I mean, Thug Rose, man, she's done it before. She's beat friggin' Joanna twice, so I don't know.
In terms of ownership, the public thinks that this is the stackable fight out of the three title fights. On the three title fights, you go one side or the other generally, but they're saying that this is the fight that you stack in terms of ownership only, because Zhang is carrying 43.3% ownership, and then Rose is carrying 34.9%, so they're both above that benchmark, Kevin.
I like that. Yeah.
So yeah, basically just agreeing with everything you just said.
I'm gonna put Zhang. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put Zhang in.
Oh, you just cut out.
I'm going to put Zhang.
There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now we can. You're good.
Zhang in GPP territory.
Okay.
Lower ownership on a title fight and huge potential.
Yeah, she's still lower than Valentina and Usman out of the three.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And what does Shev have? Huge ownership, 52%.
Yes. Yep, 52.5.
That's crazy. All right, so yeah, I definitely like that. And then, like I said, Thug Rose. I mean, she can beat anyone when she's on. I definitely like her.
And then she's carrying lower than all four of them. So
yeah, all four of the ones we mentioned so far.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So
she also has the best chance in your eyes. Correct.
This is also true. 100% out of all the
underdogs.
Three underdogs. I mean, we're like at 6,800, 6,700, and 7,200, all pretty close in price. I think she has the best chance by far.
Yeah, Vegas is giving her a 39% chance, so it makes sense.
No, I 39%. That's freaking crazy. That's every time I think I'm like bullish on something and I'm like, yo, I'm giving her a chance. You're like, Vegas has a 98% chance that Thug wins. I'm like, okay. I guess I'm not as contrarian as I thought I was. Like, relax. That's
Vegas knows all. Yes,
that's true. Yeah,
and then when they don't know all, and the public hammers one side or the other, they adjust. So
yeah, they adjust exactly. They adapt. Moving on, we got the main event here of our three title fights, and great card. This is an awesome card. I love this card. I can't wait to watch this. Kamaru Usman versus Jorge. What is the ownership? I know Usman's 60 something or whatever, something
60 on the dot, 60.2, and then Masvidal is 22.4. Again, this is going back to our original statement. This is why I'm like, okay, isn't Masvidal, like, doesn't he have some fighting ability? Like, what's going on here? But yeah, 20.
That's still pretty high.
Yes. Yeah. You're right. It's high for the odds. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just high for the. Yeah, I mean, it's overall. That's what 82%. Combined.
Yeah.
That's just a lot. Usually, if you have someone like Usman's ownership, you don't see the underdog with that kind of ownership.
Yeah. This is approaching McGregor territory here with Usman ownership.
Well, here's the thing. I'll tell you why. I don't care if it was short notice when they first fought. He deleted Masvidal in their first fight and outclassed him brutally. He had 263 total strikes. So that crazy number I was talking about, Valentina Shevchenko, Usman did better. 5 takedowns, more strikes. Usman's volume, pressure, wrestling, conditioning, they're so stupid that I actually think 9,400 for him. Like that Shevchenko fight, she can do it and clear 9,500. I wouldn't bank on it. Right. Usman does it every freaking time. This is what Usman does. You know what I mean?
We've been over this last time, yeah.
As long as he doesn't give a 3rd round KO or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
What?
His history is just insane. His worst scoring, and I'm talking how many fights? Like he's been in a lot of fights. 12, yeah, a lot of, 13, 14, 15. Am I right?
Fights. I mean, yeah, at least 4 or 5 title fights in a row now. I know that.
His worst scoring ever. Again, keep in mind he's won every single one, 73. So
that's insane. Yeah. He's just, I'm telling you, he's just, his wrestling and pressure and conditioning is just stupid. He latches onto people and he's glue. Yeah. The only fight that, and this is why I was most excited for Covington and him, which is again one of the best fights I've ever seen in my life, is because he's his mirror. You know what I mean? He's glue, crazy conditioning, and is going to throw stupid volume. And I just don't think Masvidal. I mean, Masvidal has one hit power, KO power, like you read about. Masvidal's red, Matt. Only red one on here. We get a lot of hate for that. I'll tell you right now too. Like
there's a lot of Masvidal fans. I know there are too.
I'm an unbiased guy. And I'll tell you, I don't like Masvidal. Like I don't like him. So, but this is an unbiased pick. I would, I've marked Masvidal green many times. I've love listed him. I don't even like the guy. It's just not, that's not good. That's not good PR if I let emotions get into this. But watching what I saw the first time, I don't think Masvidal has anything for him. I'm going to be honest. He has the power to knock him out. Don't get me wrong, but I've never seen Usman really like in trouble. Kobe put him like, knocked him around a little bit, but it wasn't like bad. And I don't know, man. Usman is just, it's such a safer pick for Usman that he's going to get hold of him and gas him out than Masvidal landing that 1 in a million punch.
Right.
But that's my opinion. And Usman's just freaking tough, man. He's a good striker too. You saw Gilbert Burns too. Like everyone, like Usman isn't just a wrestler. He's got very good striking too. And I think Masvidal's just got a tough day in the office. And that's the thing too about Masvidal. He's a big, like we talked about, Matt. He's got the BMF belt and he's up and coming. That great knockout over Askren, it was sick. But he was trash most of his career. He just kind of came into it was like the Chael Sonnen effect. And I love Chael Sonnen, but Chael Sonnen was trash most of his career, and his mouth did a lot of the work for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he got a lot of his clout and a lot of his like attention in big fights because he talked a lot of shit. And Masvidal's kind of like, he's got that aura about him, not so much a shit talker, but just that aura where people like him, and we're like Nate Diaz. Love Nate Diaz, one of my favorite fighters.
I was literally just about to bring him up. So,
but Nate Diaz isn't even that freaking good. Like he fought for a title shot once.
Oh, you're probably tilting so many people right now.
I don't care. I'm probably a bigger Nate Diaz fan than the people I'm tilting, but like he's not that great. Like good boxer, great boxer, good jiu-jitsu, overall fighter.
I've just from my experience in covering DFS now for about a year and a half on YouTube, I know the most. I guess I'm not even gonna say sensitive. I'm gonna say the most passionate fans that we have are NFL and MMA by far. Yeah. It's like anything we say one way or the other, you guys are gonna freak out on us. So,
I get it though. When my favorite fighters lose, it ruins my week.
Oh
like,
yeah,
I totally get it. Like,
oh yeah, my Jacksonville Jaguars are absolute trash, but when they lose, I still get so angry just because I know how passionate NFL fans are. Yeah, and I'm one of them. I'm very passionate about my Jags. All right. That being said, I think Jake Paul would beat Masvidal. All right, let's move on to our core picks, our GPP plays, and
by the way, I hate you guys so much.
I told you. You see, you're one of them.
I opened up. I was late to it. I opened it up and I saw you and TJ just absolute little worms, and I was like, I hate you guys so much.
All right, but TJ started it to my defense. I usually start it, but
I have no problem believing that.
All right, he was bored. All right, let's
TJ's dog off a bridge. Anyway, so core plays and fights. Chris Weidman, somewhat decent favorite and also decently cheaper. Should carry a ton of ownership because of that. Usman can actually clear his price point at 9,400. Shevchenko, huge ownership, and it's Shevchenko. GPP plays. Liang Carnelossi, great finish chance, pricing and style matchup. First fight on the card. Great ownership we talked about too. Wrong, little risky, huge upside, perfect for tourneys. Roberson, Allen, solid minus 215 finish chance, great pricing, pretty cut and dry there. Crute, absolute freight train, looked amazing lately. Hall, Weidman has a suspect chin. Hall hits like a rhino, pretty cut and dry there. Zhang, lower ownership on a title fight and huge potential for a top scorer. Punts, Anthony Smith, probably my favorite. Her and Rose is tough. They're both these two punts are amazing, Matt. Anthony Smith and Rose, I'll just lump them together. Unreal punts. Sometimes, like, I'm forcing myself to find a punt. This is not one of those times. I stand by these punts. I think these are good punts. I mean, Anthony Smith could come out and get friggin' annihilated in 10 seconds, but it's his ability to also do that himself that makes him a good punt. And Rose is just, when she's on fire, man, she beat Joanna twice. She can beat anyone. She can beat Zhang. She can. So.
All right. That was the most efficient video I think we've ever done. Very straight to the point. In 40 minutes, it looks like we're going to be covering a 13-fight slate. So job well done to Kevin. Guys, if you did enjoy this content, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course, smash that like button for all of our future MMA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day. Let's cash.